Hey everybody, this is Connie, cutbyconnie.com, and I'm here with another little baby step tutorial on proportional text. I was on the forum this morning and they were talking about proportional text, and I haven't used Vinyl and came up with this problem yet, but I understood what they were talking about. I just didn't get it. And then I saw a post from Water Rabbit, and the way she explained it, I suddenly had a light bulb moment and understood it totally. So I wanted to do a little video so that y'all could get it too. So let me bring up her notes. I put her notes down here in this little box. Um, she says a lot of times this doesn't matter, but if you're doing more than one line of text and you want it to match, you have to figure out what is the tallest letter, usually a capital, and the longest letter, like a J, a Y, a G, um, an F, or a P. And then you have to use those two letters at the beginning, one at the beginning and one at the end of your sentence, and then later you can get rid of them. So I'm going to try to explain what she's talking about. So I'm using this, let me switch back to my Verdana font because that was what I was using before. Usually takes me forever to find fonts. So, and I've got my caret size. I want to call it cursor, but it's your caret size. It's right here on Make the Cut. And I've got it up at 3. You can move it up or down to make it whatever you need it to be, because that is going to determine what size your letters come in. So I've got mine set at 3, and if I were to go to and just double click on the A, and then while that's still magic selected, I'm going to double click on the B and then double click on the C, and what that's going to do is that's going to bring them all in at 3 inches, the A, the B, and the C, because the 3 inches is from the top of that B to the bottom, so it doesn't look proportionate. And that's the same even if you click on your mat and you double click and do the A, and then you double click on your mat and you do the B, and then you double click on your mat and you do the C. It doesn't matter if you leave them all magic selected at the same time when you add things. It's still going to do the same thing. It's going to bring them in at 3 inches, and so that's why they're not going to match. Now when you use the text box over here, it's the second T to the right, says add a group of characters, and when you do that and you add in the A, the B, and the C, then that brings them in proportionate like this line, and so they look right. But if I were to bring in add a Y to that mix to the end, then it's not going to be the same size. So if I had a phrase that was like this and then another phrase, it's not going to match, because you can see when I brought in this A and then B and the C, if I brought it up here and compared the two A's, you see that they're not the same, because I added the B and the Y, and that just made it look different. So I don't know exactly the particulars about why that happens, but it does happen. But there is a way to work around that. So if you look here at my sample text up here at the top, it's got a capital S at the beginning, and then a P, and then it's got two T's. I think that's what also makes it count. And you can see that it looks good, and I want everything to look just like that. This is still in that Verdana font. I'm not sure if I used. Let's see. I don't know if I used. I might have went down to a 2. I can't remember. I'll leave it at 3 for now. But anyway, here I typed a sentence using my text box, add a group of characters, and I did all lowercase. And when I did that, even when my cursor size was set at the same size, let me just go ahead and type in all lower case just to see if it is a 3. Yeah, it's still a 3, and you can see how that brought that in a lot bigger than this. I mean, it's very apparent that that's bigger than this right here. It doesn't look right. Same thing when I typed in all caps right here. Um, when I typed in all caps and brought it in, that A is not the same size as that S up there at the top with the sample text, and it needs to be. So that didn't work. So how you fix that is you just add an S at the beginning if you see this all lowercase right here, I added an S at the beginning and a P at the end. And it doesn't matter if you put the S right beside of that first letter or you put a space in between, it's still going to work. But suddenly, if you just don't look at the S and the P, you can see that suddenly it makes it the right size. In fact, I can actually split that. Let me split that. And then I'll just get rid of the S and the P so you can see. Let me move this down here out of the way. And I don't have these joined, that's why I'm having to magic select them. And so now you can see that that looks proportionate. It looks right. The same thing with the all caps. When I brought in the all caps and I added the S and the lowercase p at the end, then it suddenly looked right. So let me split that apart and get rid of the S, because this is what you would do, is you'd bring all of your sentences in with the capital at the beginning and the lowercase at the end, and then that's going to make every line look the same. So now see that A is very proportionate to that S up there, so everything would look right. So let me go to my next little sample page. Here I have typed in, a happy home is filled with love and laughter. And I just used my text box with the Verdana, and I think I took my caret size down to 2 on this one. So let me go down to 2. Oops. Okay. And so I just typed it in just like normal, leaving the caret size at 2. But you see what happened is my is filled with love came in huge. And that's because it's all lowercase. Even though that capital L's in there, there's no G or P or Y in it to help make it the right size as the happy home and the and laughter down here at the bottom. And the and laughter came in right because of the L and the G. Okay, so how I would fix that second line is I would go to my I've got to bring in my text box, and I'm going to type in that is filled with love, but I'm going to put an A at the beginning, and then I'm going to type is filled with love, capital Love, and then I'm going to put the let's see, I'll just put a P at the end. I could put a Y, but I'll put a P at the end and add. So now what's happened is, if I move this one that's wrong down here out of the way and bring up this, and I'm just going to leave that on there, you can see that it's proportionate and it looks right. And if I get rid of the P, I'm going to delete that on my keyboard, you can see that now everything looks proportionate and it looks right. So in this second test box, you can see with the A and the P on the end that it fixed it, and it looks right. And so that's how you make everything look the same. Now I had tried a different font, and that font was called French Script. So let me go up here and find the French Script. It's very hard for me sometimes to find the script I need. French Script MT, I think is what it is. And it'll say that down here under your layer properties. As long as you don't change the name of your font, you'll see the name of whatever font you used right there under the layer properties. And if you want to remember your font and you're going to change this, just put the font you used down in your notes, and then from now on, when you come to back that project, you'll know what font you'd used. So anyway, I thought I was pretty smart, and I brought in this happy home is filled with love and laughter, and I typed everything, each sentence in separately with text box, and I thought, well, hey, this doesn't, that little mess up doesn't work with some fonts. So this French Script is one of the fonts it doesn't apply to. But that's not true. So the reason it worked with this particular phrase is because here we have that capital A and we have a P and the Y in this sentence, and so that's why it works. And then the second line has the F and the capital L, and then this line has the G and the L, capital L, so that's why it worked. But if I change that phrase to a happy home does not a house make, you can see that the does not, when I type that in, still at the cursor size of 2, it brought it in huge. And then a house make came in not even as big as the does not. It came in sort of like in between the two of them. So that looks crappy, and I wouldn't use that. So how you fix that, I'm just going to get rid of this. This does not bring this down and bring over these the other two. So what I did is I went in and I typed those same sentences, but I added an A at the beginning and an F at the end of each sentence. That of course I can then, if I want to come back and split that, let's split it and get rid of that A at the beginning, F at the end, and the same thing with this one. Split it, get rid of the A that I put. And this is what you'd do. You'd get, after you get everything like you like it, then you just split your letters and then join them back after you get it. You take the A and the F or the whatever letters you have at the beginning and the end. And so now it's proportionate to this top sentence, and it looks right. So that's how you fix the problem of the proportional text. Is you just you make sure you look at your phrase and you put a capital that's in your phrase and that one of them funky letters, the J, the G, the P, the Y, um, in there at the end, and then you just take them off when you're done, and you write your sentence right there in the middle, and it works. And that's a little a get around little trick to doing proportional text. So when you do your vinyl and your lettering and stuff, it's going to look right. So I hope that helps you, and I hope it didn't confuse you anymore. Um, and you can learn a little bit from this little lesson. Have fun.